All right. Good morning, folks. And here we are at the People's Trust Company Business Podcast. My name is Jay Cummings, Business Development Officer and Marketing Director here at People's Trust Company. And we have an incredible session for you today about emails and the secret sales tool and how emails might have fallen out of fashion for a little while and then came back in with a vengeance. And those that have the proper knowledge and skills can capitalize on that. So when I was looking for a guest to come and educate people about that, I found one of my favorite people, and she is an absolute expert in copy and in email and just how to say things in a certain way to make people pay attention and listen, which is the key on all of the digital noise in today's world. Is how do you say what you need to say in a way to make you stand out and listen to? So, we've got Lisa Ryman from 2i Copy here with us. Thank you, Lisa, for agreeing to come on to the podcast. And instead of me doing a terrible introduction of all your accolades, because there are so many, I can't,
Oh,
world-class rower and why don't you give us a quick, give the viewers a quick rundown of your.
sure. Thank you for having me on here. Yes, well, actually, I paddle, not row, because I look where I'm going. Yes, I'm heavily involved in Dragon Boat, and I've been on a world class championship team, Team USA, all of that fun stuff. But I'm really, in my business, I am the founder and owner of 2i Copy, which is a little copywriting studio where I help small businesses stand out in the marketplace, making their messaging simple, memorable, and fun to read without sleaze, without spamming people, and without just sort of blending into the noise that you alluded to. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, that's much better, introduction than I would have done. So I am a firm believer of handing things off to the experts. When I go to the doctor, I don't tell them how to cut and expect a better outcome. So I let the pros be the pros. But Lisa, before we jump on to some topics, 2i Copy, is that because you read all of the stuff that you write with 2 eyes wide open? How did that come about?
Well, I'm Lisa with two eyes in my name, right? And actually, the origin of my company name is a funny story. I joined BNI, a networking group, which is just phenomenal, and I met you there. And there was a Lisa with one eye and a Lisa, me with two eyes. And our friend Andrew Kate actually started differentiating us by just calling us one eye and two eye, and it stuck. And at the time, I didn't have a business name, and I was like, oh, I've been hearing this all my life. I should just go with it. And I did. And it stands out and it's easier to spell than my name.
That's fantastic. I'm a big universe guy and listen to the energy, and sometimes the universe
Hmm.
provides, and when it's right in front of you, you have to adopt it.
You
Um,
do.
so let's dive into some topics
Hmm.
about emails. Why don't you give an overview of what we might talk about today, or when you give presentations on emails, and then we can circle back and dive into each one of the components in a lot more detail to give our viewers, ultimately, a recipe book to follow,
Hmm.
try at home. And I'll just also mention to folks while you're on the podcast live, if you're watching us on Facebook or watching us on LinkedIn, if you make a comment, just like you would on any other Facebook post or a LinkedIn post, those questions will pop over here. So if you want to ask Lisa a very specific question about your business, she'll be able to give you an expert answer that's customized just for you. So, Lisa, why don't you take it off and tell us about emails and why are they so important?
Sure. So I think, a lot of people think emails are gross and spammy. I'm one of them. I don't like reading my emails. I tend to like miss them half the time. And I resisted using email in my own marketing for a really long time because of that. But emails are actually really key. People do read them, and they are the only true business asset that you actually own. So a lot of people, put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak, whether they're putting out content on social media, on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube. And what they fail to realize is that those platforms can be taken away from you at any time. You do not own them. Mark Zuckerberg owns Meta, right? He owns Facebook and Instagram. And if you violate the code of conduct or the platform rules, you can get shut down, you can get ghosted, you can get shadow banned, all those things. And you're also at the mercy of the algorithm, where email, that your email list is yours, and you can take that with you when you change platforms, when you change your business, when you pivot, whatever. That is your thing to hold on to. And the other strength of email is that social media is one to many, right? But email is really personalized. It's a one-to-one conversation. It's much more personalized. It's much more customized. So it's really, really valuable. And so folks just, have been sitting on email. It's a gold mine. And if you know how to do it right and you monetize it, it can be the most effective and cheapest form of marketing for your business. The other thing that blew me away when I realized is that for every dollar you put into email marketing, you could get up to $44 back. That is a massive ROI. And so for small businesses who don't have a lot of ad spend or marketing budget or zero marketing budget, that can be, a game changer.
So I got to tell you, Lisa, you have my full and undivided attention, because that was such a important point to talk about your email and compare it to some of the other forms of marketing. And you're 100% absolutely correct that any one of those other social media channels, you could be pulled off at a moment without warning. And
Mhm,
then you're stuck.
mhm,
And I love what you said about how the email is your only true asset in marketing that you own and can't be taken away from you.
mhm.
So, wow, what a incredible point, an incredibly important point. So where if I was a small business and I really didn't have any emails, and I'm assuming that the strength of your email book of emails, whatever you call that, your email list is kind of like a
Mhm,
newspaper. The more
mhm.
you have, the more valuable it is. But if you don't have any, or you just have a couple, how do you get them?
There's lots of different ways, right? And it's going to depend on whether you're a brick and mortar business or if you are a primarily online business. So, but there's some strategies that can cross over. So the first thing is, like, every person that you meet, just get their email. If somebody comes into your store, have an email sign up list for, a newsletter or tips or coupons or special events, announcements, sales, all that kind of stuff. You can have like a physical sign up. You can ask for people's emails on your invoices. You can ask for people's emails on your website. Now, a lot of people, when they have a website, or when they build a website, they default to the standard, sign up for tips and tricks or subscribe to our newsletter. And that's really not compelling. So you have to give people a reason to give over their email addresses. People are very, very discerning, more and more discerning as we go through, and they just don't want to be spammed. So if you can offer some sort of value, they're more likely to give you their emails, and you have to deliver on the promise. You can also, offer a lead magnet. That's something that I offer my clients in my business is, something that your client struggles with or your audience struggles with that you can solve really easily for them. Offer it to them, in a PDF or a mini course or a couple of emails. If you can answer their questions, they're going to be really much more willing to give you their email address. So you get to be creative if you hold a workshop or you have a special event. Just collect people's emails any chance that you can.
That is excellent advice, and I would imagine it's the type of thing that isn't going to happen all at once. It's kind of like a
Mm-mm.
little raindrops dripping off your roof into a barrel, and every week you catch 10 or 20, but at the end of the year, you've got hundreds, and now you're really cooking with gas, so it's probably
Mhm,
gonna be a well thought out and committed to campaign, and
mhm.
people not get disappointed if it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, but I think, people overthink it too. And if you have, one other thing that occurred to me is if you have a Facebook community, or, you have a opportunity to ask questions for entry to people, you can ask for their email address there. If you're taking online appointments, obviously, you can get people's email address there as well.
Excellent. That's some great strategies on how to get the emails.
Hmm.
So, Lisa, now I'm in my brick and mortar. I'm a retail business,
Hmm.
and I've been acquiring people's emails at my point of purchase or a little, scannable QR
Hmm.
code at checkout, or
Hmm.
both.
Hmm.
So now I've got five, six, 800 emails. How do I use those effectively? I mean, you had mentioned a couple of very quick topics about that, or
Hmm.
not topics, items. What do I do
Hmm.
with
It really depends. So the beauty of so I would definitely get an email platform like MailChimp or MailerLite, or an all-in-one if you're building a web pages and sales pages, something like Go High Level or ClickFunnels. These are all platforms that do more for you than just email, but find something that is an actual email system that's not just your Gmail account, and it's not just a spreadsheet like Google sheet or an Excel sheet. That is not going to fly, because you really need to, there are some rules and regulations around emails that you have to, as a sender, follow so that you don't get blacklisted, so that your emails don't end up in spam boxes, and you don't get reported and dinged for bad behavior, right? Even though you own your email list, you still have rules that you have to follow, because once you start spamming people and they start reporting you, it's not a good look. It's not a good vibe.
So
Um,
is that a for instance of don't use your Outlook and copy in
mhm,
your 500 emails and send it out because you can't unsubscribe from it? And I'm always
correct.
suspicious when I get a bulk email from, like, what I would consider a personal address. I mean,
Mhm,
not personal home, but personal work or personal home. Then I'm like, that's really not the right tool for the job. So I'm naturally suspicious, thinking their
absolutely.
computer got hacked.
Yeah, so for sure. Plus, it's not doesn't look professional, right? Like if it's, my business at gmail.com or my business at outlook.com, that's sort of a red flag for individual recipients, but also the email providers as well. They'll look at that and they'll be like, no, we're not going to deliver this email. So yes, that is one thing. Like you said, there's lots of rules around. You have to offer a really easy one-click way to unsubscribe from your list, because you don't want to make people angry by sending them stuff that they don't want. Cold emailers do this a lot, right? And there's no way to get rid of them. So that's one thing. But when you have all these emails in a system, you can then do what's called segmentation, and you can create specific groups of people based on their interests, their buying history, so that you don't send everybody everything at the same time all the time. And that really helps your list stay engaged, and your people want to stay on your list. So, for example, if you've had people that have come for specific sales, you can send them emails about sales, but they might not be interested about your newest product, right? And vice versa. So, there's all different ways that you can create categories of email folks in your system, and then really target them and give them sort of the content that they would really like and appreciate.
So I guess before you get going, the real strategy is, sure, I can go get a bunch of email names to communicate with, but if I don't give them really specific and relevant content for them, they're going to unsubscribe, and I'm going to
Mhm,
forever. So you have to give it some thought. So you mentioned segments. That's just
mhm,
breaking the list apart by particular interest or something
mhm.
like that.
Interest, buying history, people that have attended your workshops, for example, if you give workshops, so that you've got an opportunity to tag each name and sort of in the system designate what they're interested in. And then when you have something specific for them, you can send it. A really good sort of example of how this works is when you have something on, you see something online and you see a lead magnet. A lead magnet is basically where somebody offers you something in exchange for your email address. It might be like 5 tips to get rich this week, right? Like, or 5 weight loss tips, or whatever. And you put
10%
in your
off on your $200 order today.
exactly that as well. And then you put in your email, and if you get something back, that then I'm sorry, then you get that thing. But if you then get an email after that that has nothing to do with the thing that the people requested. So let's say they asked for your coupon, and then you start sending them emails about, I don't know, bank advice, or you
No
know,
players.
how great this cup is, then they're going to be like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And I'm going to jump off your email list. So you have to make sure that it's always relevant and related to the original reason that they gave you their email in the first place. You don't want to, bait and switch people.
Absolutely. That's a great point too, to make sure that you want to nurture your list and make people happy that they signed up and not regret
Hmm.
it. All
Hmm.
right. So now I've got the list. I've got a
Hmm.
good idea of how I've broke them apart by segments, and maybe I have 3 or 4 different segments, or maybe I'm a real small business and I've got maybe 2 or 3 segments tops.
Hmm.
Now what do I do with them?
Well, you need to create a strategy, right? You have to figure out how often you are going to email them. And this, that's a common question that I have, is how often should I email my list? Should I email them 3 times a week, or 3 times a month, or 1 time a month? And really, the answer is whatever is comfortable for you as the sender, what you can be consistent with. And if you can only email your list once a week or once a month, then do that and stick to that. So the best strategy there is the one that you can be consistent with, and the one that you can stick to. And it's really up to, I hate giving like it depends answers, but it really depends on the business. Like, if you want to do like a once a month sort of newsletter style email where you say, this is what we've been doing this month and these are the initiatives we're taking, then that's fine. More frequent tends to be better, and shorter emails tend to perform better than long ones. But again, it really depends on your audience. Maybe your audience likes to read long emails once a month. So you have to test and see what works. And the beauty of having an email platform that can house your list and your segments is that they also have analytics. So you can go into the back end and take a look at what are people opening, how many people open email A versus email B, how many people then click through and follow the instructions that you set out. If you said click here for another 10% off, how many people actually clicked that, so that you can see what resonates with people, whether your content is working. And then it gives you an idea of, okay, this is what I need to fix, this is what I need to work on, this is what I need to try differently next time.
You mentioned platforms a little bit. I
Hmm.
can't remember where I was just in the last 3 or 4 weeks. It was either Square, uh,
Hmm.
that point of purchase that has a little bit of marketing newsletter in it,
Hmm.
Constant Contact, but they had a heat map on there. And
Hmm.
you sent out your emails, you could see how many people went to read
Hmm.
something or went to click something. Obviously, you can track the clicks, but it
Hmm.
also showed where they went with that. Are you familiar with that?
That particular one, no, but most email platforms have something very similar. You can do A/B testing, which is you could send the same email out with a different subject line at 2 different times during the day, and it will tell you which one performs better. You can definitely target them to specific geographic areas. There's so much you can do, and this is where it gets overwhelming for somebody who's just starting out. And so if that is as our viewers today, if somebody's like, I know I need to get an email list, I've been putting it off because I'm just overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, it just start simple, right? Just you don't worry about all those things. If there's going to be one thing that you track, it's how many people actually open your email, and try and get that to increase over time. And then start looking at what you mentioned, the click through rate, which is if you have a link in your email, how many people actually click it and take the next step, and just add to it so that it's not overwhelming and you don't feel like you're drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. So we've only got about 5.5 minutes left, but sometimes
Mhm.
we get hot and we on a hot topic that's juicy and people hang out a little bit longer. So um, and again, I'll let the folks in the audience know that if you're listening to us live, either on Facebook or LinkedIn, all you have, if you want to ask Lisa a question, just go down into the comments section, ask your question there, and it automatically floods over to us, and we can get you very detailed, exact, specific answers for your business. So don't be shy and hop on there. Now, Lisa, I just kind of dove into this. I did I miss any topics that you had thought you were going to talk about today that were important?
No, I think one reason that people, put off doing their email list is, well, there's a few, but a couple of the main ones is that people say that, oh, I'm not tech savvy, I don't know how to set it up. And there's lots of ways that you can do it and keep it simple and keep it manageable. So that shouldn't stop people from getting an email list together. And there's help around the corner. Like, I'm happy to help people with that. And the other thing is that, people don't necessarily know what to say, or they say, I'm boring. My business is boring. I don't have anything exciting to share. Every day, there's a new story that you can tell, something that happened in your business, some aha moment that you had, something that you discovered that can really help your people. If you're really, really stuck, you can go back and think of all the questions that your customers ask you over and over and over again. That's a perfect email topic or series, right? If people ask you 5 questions consistently, that's 5 emails that you can send out and really help them um, get the answers to their questions and the solutions to their problems. And then the other thing that comes up a lot for me and my clients is I don't want to spam people and I don't want to be salesy. And my answer to that is, you're running a business and you need sales to survive. And we think nothing of seeing an ad on TV for like Doritos or Subway or something else. We're like, oh, that looks really good. I'm hungry. I'm going to go buy that next time. So why not your service? Why not your business? And if you have the solution to somebody's problem and you don't offer it, well, you're a bit of a turd. So let people know what you have, how you solve their problems. And if you really send those emails with the intent of helping people, helping your audience, they're going to receive them really, really well.
Very good advice. Now, Lisa, before we get into what the steps might be to hire you to
Mhm.
perform some tasks for their business, do you have a more recent or a very simple example of a client that you had that maybe you had helped them get
Mhm.
their email list together, and then you helped them, I'm assuming because you write copy, you helped them write the emails, and
Mhm.
talk a little bit about that and what type of success they had and how long it took?
Yeah, I can think of a couple. One was just a brick and mortar little business who had emails but hadn't been using them really well. And we offered a 50% off. It was a baking company, and offered like a coupon for people to sign up off their next item or class, and that increased their email list and traffic to their store. So it was double the a whammy, like a double whammy. I can write the words, I can't always say them. And then another one was, as somebody who is starting their consulting business and really doesn't have a wide, big audience, didn't know what to say, didn't know how to set it up. So we set up the sort of a little lead magnet, a little document that could be sent to them to help them get through the first step of the process, and then set up the automations for them so that you don't have to sit there and send an email out every time, so that it's on autopilot, because nobody has time to take on more things, right? If you can set the system up once and then it runs smoothly automatically, that's what every business needs. So did that and started to get a lot more interest and get a lot more traffic to her website and ultimately sales.
That's amazing. So I guess one of the underlying topics of the whole podcast here today is many people just sit back and they wait for a perfect time to do it or another, and you really just have to start today. It's kind of
Mhm,
like my old saying is, a year from now, you'll wish you
mhm,
started today.
mhm.
So, Lisa, in the little bit of time we have left, and we can go over a little bit if you have time, if someone was to want to inquire to use your business for their business,
Mhm.
how would they go about it, and what types of entry level products do you offer? And then we can talk about some higher level products.
Absolutely. So, I offer everybody who is thinking of working with me or has a question and doesn't know what I call a hot seat call or a solution call. And they can get on the phone with me for 20 minutes. We can solve one problem and then we can see what else they need help with and sort of evaluate, are we a good fit for each other? Should they do something else first? I'm definitely not the type of person where I'm going to sell you my thing at all costs. If it doesn't make sense for you, if you need to go focus on your website first or something else, then we can talk through that and create a little bit of a strategy. So I can drop the link to my calendar in the comments when we're done, and people can just book a call with me and we can evaluate and see what needs to happen.
So, kind of like just a quick free consultation, fact finding discovery call.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. And then for the people that are a good fit, what type of product or service is like a very logical first step with you?
Mhm. Yeah. So I actually have two different little bundles that people can look at, and in collaboration with Sasha Wildbaker, who I think you had on recently, where she talking about SEO. But there's an option for the DIYer, and then somebody who just wants it done, wants white glove service. So if somebody wants to set up their own email address and create a lead magnet and set up the automation so that things go out on autopilot, they can buy our List Launchpad program, which is like a mini course and it leads them through everything. And then they can ask questions when they get stuck and just go that route. Or they can buy the done for you service where we help them position their lead magnet, put it on their website, create the emails that go out after somebody downloads it and then checks in on them, in a few weeks, and then set up all the automations for that. So there's two options for folks depending on their level of comfort with the tech or their time.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm an open book, and I ask stuff
Mhm.
that maybe I shouldn't. What's
Mhm.
a what's a roundabout budget on either of those 2 services that you offer?
So the DIY option is only $97, and
Wait,
the
what?
yeah.
97 bucks to you're gonna make that back the first day?
Mhm, mhm.
Why
Well, you're gonna yeah, I mean, what did I say, right? For every dollar you spend, you could get up to 44 back. It's a no-brainer.
right,
Yes, and then the done for you is currently at 997. So, it's $1,000, but again, if the ROI is gonna be insane.
and so the $1,000, item, how long does that take? How many weeks or months does it take to get through it where it's up and running and cycling out pretty good?
I mean, start to finish, depending on like, our how many things are in our pipeline, we could get it up and running within a week or two.
And then how long would that run for the business owner with not much additional expense of manipulating it or changing it or whatever? Would they run that for a year or a
Ever,
month or
ever, ever until they decide to change it, right? It's theirs, it stays on their website. Their emails that it captures goes to their email system, and it's there until they decide to take it down. So it can potentially run forever. What they'll have to do is then add emails to the sequence, right? Or take over. Because let's say I download 5 tips on something and then I get 3 to 5 automated emails after that, checking in on my progress or giving me more tips or offering other ways to work with me. That's the package. But then the business owner is going to have to write more emails to go out after that, or retain me to write them to keep that going. But the initial setup, that's theirs forever, and it stays until they decide it doesn't work for them anymore.
that's amazing. If you're a small business and you can't afford to put $997 into something that's going to pay itself back over and over and over again. I mean, that just isn't. I thought you were going to tell me it was 10 grand or something for all the expertise and talent that goes into that. That it really is a bargain. And I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't want to use that,
Mhm,
especially because it's evergreen. It's going to just
mhm,
be making you money in perpetuity.
yeah. And the beauty of it too is like, if you decide you want to give something different away, or you've updated that little 3 tips to whatever, you can just replace that really easily. Everything else stays and you can just update it as you go along. You can update the emails, you can insert new links, you can keep it relevant forever.
Wow. That is absolutely fantastic. What a gem to be
Mhm.
able to share that with our audience. And I hope some of them take you up on that. Like if I was had a brick and mortar or my service, I'd be doing it today. Like
Yeah.
like your phone should be ringing in your pocket right now. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
email isn't scary. Really, people need to just believe that it's good, that it can help their business and it can help their customers. Like, if you're focused on really helping your audience and your customers achieve the results that they want, email is a fantastic way to do it. And it doesn't have to be scary.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. Well, Lisa, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the program, and even more so, thank you for your level of expertise and knowledge of in this all around in this business. So, thank you so much. And again, I'll let you give one more plug to the folks that are on here live. Best way to catch you to get one of these sit down consultations for free.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me on. I just love supporting small businesses get ahead because I think small businesses are the engine of our economy and communities, and I just love seeing them succeed. So I will drop a link to my calendar in the notes below. Folks can find me at 2icopy.com. I can put in links to the List Launchpad done for you service and the emails that sell white glove service.
Yeah.
And if people see this afterwards and have questions, put them in the comments and I'll circle back and answer them later too, because people are probably at work trying to manage their customers right now.
Yeah, we get a lot more viewing after hours, so I
Hmm.
store it on our YouTube page, and then I bring it over onto the bank
Hmm.
website. So, and then if anybody thinks it would be a great idea to have Lisa come in and do some in-person sessions, we're just started to schedule the 2026 winter spring session of
Oh,
seminars,
fun.
and I would love to have you because I remember you did a couple for us last year, or the year before,
Hmm.
and the visuals on it were absolutely fantastic. I wish we had time to show them here, but so if you like the podcast, you will love the Lisa in person.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, and I want to thank everybody for watching and listening, whether it's live or after hours. And in 2 weeks, we will be hosting another business podcast on the People's Trust Company Business Series. And you'll have to go to our Facebook page or LinkedIn page to see what it is, or go to ptcvt.com and look under news and events. Thanks again, Lisa. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will catch you next time on the podcast channel for business for People's Trust Company. Thank you.